This video demonstrates how to change the battery on a classic Ninja 250. This is for model year 2007 or earlier. So if you have a newer Ninja 250, I would advise you to go find another video. But if you have one of these, keep watching. So turn this key to unlatch your seat and remove it. And the battery is very easy to find. It is located right here. It's under this rubber strap. You may not have these additional wires here hooked up to your battery. This is because I've hooked up a battery tender to my battery here. And even though this was hooked up and the battery tender said, hey, green light, battery's good, when I did voltage across these two terminals, with the ignition on, the voltage dropped to under 11 volts, somewhere around 10. So I'm pretty sure this battery is bad. Positive, negative. Remove the negative terminal first and put it out of the way. Always take care to keep track of all the parts that you've disconnected in the order in which they were connected. I've got the negative terminal here. I've got my battery tender, which you may not have, here, and then I have the bolt and the washer. So now it's time to go and disconnect the positive side. Now with both the positive and negative sides disconnected, it's time to remove this rubber strap. Now online they say there's two ways to do this. You can either pull this up that direction and disconnect it from under the tank. There's a little nub that it fits over, but I mean that seems pretty darn hard. Or you can pull it this direction, down this way, and then you can slide this bracket, the metal bracket, to the left or the right to disconnect it. So I'm going to try and let you know which one works for me. And I absolutely recommend pulling it this direction and then sliding this off. That was pretty easy. So just grab firmly on this, pull it that direction, and then you should be able to take this metal clip and move it to the left and disconnect it from the bottom there. With all that done, the battery should just lift straight out of the bike. The OEM battery for this bike is the Yuasa YTX7L-BS. You should be able to find equivalent batteries for about $20 or $30. If you actually want to get the official Yuasa battery, it's probably more like $40 or $50. Old battery, new battery. Your new battery likely came with a set of new bolts and new nuts here. The way this works is one of these nuts fits under here, right, under each terminal, and then this bolt goes on the top, and it's supposed to screw into that nut. Now, as you see, it's actually not long enough to actually screw into that. So, to be able to get this to work, especially if you have additional, connections up here, we are going to need to remove these side fairings. So to remove this, there is one screw right there that you're going to undo. It's a Phillips screw. So with that screw loose, now you're going to go up here. There are two rubber grommets behind here. You're going to just wiggle this thing free. And before you get too excited and just rip the thing off, right, there's a little nub or a little plastic connector that fits right under here, and I've broken this on mine, so I had to glue it back. So just be careful. Once those grommets are disconnected, you're going to want to pull this kind of down and away. There. So it'll come free. And I failed to mention it, but there's also a little rubber grommet there as well. And obviously do the same on the other side. And now the side fairings are removed on both sides. And this is a good opportunity to check your coolant level and top that up if needed. Drop your new battery in place. I found it's easier if we put the little nuts in first before you drop it in here, and start putting together the bolt and the connections that you want for the positive side. And when I say put together, I mean transfer any washer from the old bolt to the new bolt and put together the connections in the same order and put it through the terminal. But the issue is you can turn this as many times as you want, and you may experience that it is not biting into that nut at the bottom. So what we are going to do, and the reason we remove those fairings, is that we have that nut right there is at the bottom, and then we have our bolt right above it. It's kind of hard to tell here. There it is, and it only comes down that far, right? So what we need to do is we need to take a flathead screwdriver, and we need to go in there and gently lift up that nut while we try to screw it from the top to get it to connect. And I would like to emphasize that it's imperative that you do the positive side first, then the negative. If you were to connect the negative side up first to the bolt, and then you're going in here and playing around with a screwdriver and trying to adjust this nut, and you end up touching, you know, the metal frame that's grounded, you're going to make a spark, you're going to make an arc. So definitely do the positive side first, then the negative side. And this may be hard to see, but I've got my screwdriver in here, and I've lifted up that nut, so that nut is actually right against the top. So now I should be able to go ahead and screw my bolt and the connections right into the top of that nut. And if you are having trouble still getting this to thread into the nuts at the bottom like I just did, you might want to try using the nuts from your old battery. They may work better. So I'm going to swap out these nuts with the old nuts and give that a try. And that worked a lot better with the old nut under there, just for my circumstances, because I have this extra battery tender on here. Then go ahead and repeat the steps for the negative terminal using the screwdriver to lift up that nut from the bottom. And getting these nuts lined up and lifted is honestly the hardest part of the whole job. So you may need to jiggle this quite a bit to get the screwdriver under the nut. Then it'll be shifted and it'll be over to the side. And you could get in here with another screwdriver and basically adjust it until the threads are in the proper location. After you have your two terminals connected, go ahead and pull on this rubber strap and slip it right underneath from the side here, underneath that little plastic bracket down there. At this point, your new battery is secure, so go ahead and try to start your bike and verify everything is hooked up properly. And now that you verified your bike works, go ahead and put your fairings back on, your two fairings, put your toolkit back in its proper location. Go ahead and put your seat back on, and you should be good to go. Hope this helps some of you out there.